On Friday, April the 16th, the Ontario government issued a new emergency order as part of the existing stay-at-home order, giving the police some rather troubling and unprecedented powers to randomly stop anyone they encounter and demand their identification, to know why they're out of their homes, where they're going, and where they live. Today on Don't Talk TV, I want to discuss that quickly and give you some advice on how you might deal with that situation if you're stopped by police. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. So we're about a year and a bit into 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We're now on to the third state of emergency in Ontario, and on Friday, April the 16th, in a press conference delivered by Premier Doug Ford and Solicitor General Sylvia Jones, among others, new rules for the stay-at-home order were announced, as well as new powers of enforcement given to police. Now, initially, on Friday, what was announced is that police were being given broad powers to randomly stop any person on the streets, be they driving, walking, riding a bike, and require that they provide their identification, they explain why they're outside their homes and where they're going, and that they give their home address. Failure to comply with such a demand would result in a $750 fine. Now, quite rightly, there was lots of concern over this. Many citizens were very concerned, civil liberties groups were very concerned, and to their great credit, our police services themselves were very concerned. And this makes me proud to be Canadian and renews my faith in police officers in Canada that many police forces across Ontario refused these new powers and publicly stated they would not be randomly stopping Canadians pursuant to these orders. So I applaud all the police services from London to Waterloo Regional Police Service to Stratford Police Service for their very principled stand and declining to take these new powers that were being given to them by our provincial government. Now, in response to this backlash, on Saturday, Premier Ford and Solicitor General Jones backed off on these, and now the order they put in place is that if a police officer or other provincial offences officer has reason to suspect that you're participating in an organised public event or social gathering, they may require you to provide information to ensure you are complying with restrictions. And every individual who is required to provide a police officer or other provincial offences officer with information shall promptly comply. And there remains a $750 fine if you don't comply. Now, while this is a change from what was implemented on Friday, it's not a huge change. The police do still have rather unprecedented powers to stop people. Now, that said, as I've mentioned previously, Section 216 of the Highway Traffic Act does give the police the ability to stop anyone in a motor vehicle to check whether they have their license with them or they're otherwise complying with the Highway Traffic Act. What's new here is that they can now compel you to explain why you're outside your house. And then what's new if you're a pedestrian is the ability for police to stop you and require you to give any information. Previously, if you're walking, you're completely free to ignore the police or just say hello to them and politely decline to answer any questions and continue on your way. Now there could be that $750 fine if the police have this reasonable suspicion. Now again, given the police reaction on Friday, I don't think that police are going to abuse this, but the power is still there that if, say, for example, you have a End the Lockdowns bumper sticker and you happen to be heading in the direction of an anti-lockdown protest, that might make an officer believe that he has reasonable grounds to believe that you're going to an organized gathering, stop you and demand this information. And if you don't answer, $750 fine. So many people have asked me, what do I do if police stop me? In my view, you have two options. Option one is you politely decline to answer the questions, take the $750 ticket, and then fight it in court, challenge the constitutionality of the law, and hopefully a judge will agree that it's an unconstitutional infringement on your Section 7 rights for the government to give this power to police, and your ticket will be thrown out of court. Option number two is make it abundantly clear to the police officer that you are not answering the questions voluntarily. Tell them that it's only under duress, it's compelled, and only because you do not want to receive a $750 ticket. Preferably record this interaction on your cell phone so there can be no question down the road that your statement was not made voluntarily. This is because in Canadian courts, only voluntary statements are admissible in court. And it's not even a question of the charter. In order for a prosecutor to put a statement into evidence, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the statement was made voluntarily. So if you do what I've suggested, they won't be able to prove on a balance of probabilities, let alone a reasonable doubt, that your statement was made voluntarily. Clearly, non-voluntary compelled. Therefore, if the police don't like the answer you give to those questions and you're given a ticket, when you go to court, your statement will be inadmissible and they'll have no way of proving in court why you were outside of your house and that you'll be acquitted, almost certainly. So those are my quick thoughts on 2 ways you can deal with this if you are stopped by police under the current stay-at-home order. As always, this video is not legal advice. If you're stopped by police or you have another situation involving police, please call a lawyer. You can call another lawyer or you can call myself. My 1-855 number is below, and we can give you specific advice tailored to your circumstances. And if there's any other topics you'd like to see me cover or hear me discuss, please leave a comment in the comments box below. And if you found this video helpful or informative, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing.